Well, hey everybody, welcome back. We are taking a look at a Broadway Limited recent re-release. This is the Pennsylvania Railroad T1 Duplex Locomotive, number 5548. Now, number 5550 is currently being built because unfortunately all of these T1s were scrapped after service. We're going to take a look at what this locomotive has in store for you right now. Alright, Broadway Limited sends their locomotives to you completely assembled, so the locomotive and tender are all in one. What that means is a fairly long box, but very, very easy use on your railroad. Inside the box, Paragon 3 operator's manual with over 31 pages. Paragon 3 has a subwoofer that can wirelessly transfer sounds and give you like a trackside experience, which is pretty cool. Limited 1-year warranty, exploded parts diagram also in the box. We'll pull out the locomotive here. There it is in all its glory. So a little longer than my turntable, we will compromise and show you what I can here. Kind of get picked on sometimes online about people saying I mishandle locomotives, handle them too roughly. I am quite a ways back from the locomotive itself. The camera is kind of in my way sometimes, so that is part of the problem. These little side panels drop off. Inside the box, traction tires and a tool to install them. And the locomotive itself, once we uncradle it here, I'm going to have to pick it up like this. And as I mentioned, too long for the turntable, so I'm going to get this re-situated to show you in more detail. Now, believe it or not, in all of my reviews, I've never reviewed this iconic locomotive, so this is a first, but the T1, really nicely detailed here. We're going to take a look starting from the front, and I've improvised so that we can have this all together and still have turntable capabilities. Kind of got that shark nose on the front with a headlight, Pennsylvania Railroad logo, grab irons. Then you've got this front pilot here with the accessory hoses and airlines, metal coupler with magnetic glide hand, crew walkway up to the treaded walkway here, which has a nice safety tread to it, and there are a number of boards on the side located here, and on the corresponding side, handrail going all along the side of the locomotive. Smokestack, a little hard to tell on this, but it's right here. Got some hatches, whistle, and safety valves up top. And the streamlined kind of look of this locomotive, there's not much other detail to talk about up top, but Broadway Limited does a nice job of showing off the detail of this. As we zoom in a little more, you have a builder's plate. I think it's slightly out of focus, but it's there and it's legible. It says T1 on it. Got the front leading trucks. Two sets of drivers here. Kind of close up view of that as we work our way back to the firebox. Interesting setup back here as well, as you've got some placards, 5549 along the side, trailing trucks right here, and a nice robust cab for the crew to enter and exit. Speaking of crew, I do not see a crew installed, so it seems kind of hit and miss on these sometimes. Lots of rivet detail on the firebox and an ash pan that's going along the whole length of the firebox here, along with some minor plumbing as well. As we swing around, you can see the back. There's backhead boiler detail, or boiler backhead detail. A little hard to see. And then we get into the tender very long tender with coal. Pennsylvania right along the side. Pennsylvania Road logo right in between the Y and the L here. And a whole bunch of busy stuff on the tender, including water hatches, little air reservoir tanks. And we are not even looking at the locomotive here because I turned, but there you have it, rear marker lights. And more placards and labels on the back as well. Coupler cut lever. Doesn't really show one. It's more of like a drop step here and some accessory hoses and that magnetic coupler, magnetic glad hand equipped coupler we were talking about. Sorry, we're zoomed in so much that we're occasionally going to go off screen as I try to focus in between doing the camera work and turning this giant thing. Try to just maybe show you the other side by doing this instead of more turning. But there is more detail there. Now the locomotive, the wiring's already pre-hooked up there. So that's ready to go. You also have a drawbar. You can probably see is disengaged at the moment. We'll get it engaged for the actual operation of the locomotive. More of the same on this side, a little more plumbing along the firebox there. And some different variations from the other side. And there's that other number board up front. And mounted below the walkway in front of the pilot trucks is a bell. Nice metallic appearance there. There's also a screen you can probably get a glimpse of. Give it a little tilt right there in between my fingers. Sitting right here. It's nicely modeled. And a very, very heavy locomotive. Really no way to weigh this, but it's very large. I'm sure the pulling power between it being a Broadway Limited and it being that large with a die-cast chassis, die-cast build is going to be crazy. So let's get in operation and testing and see what's in the locomotive or how it operates. All right, Broadway Limited's extended startup. We'll do right now with F9. You might hear the subwoofer kicking in there if you have bass in your speakers. It augments the sound, which is really cool. One of my favorite products of that year. Bell is F1. F2 is whistle. F22 is alternate whistle. F3 is coupler slack, which you have to move it to get. You see you got little 17 lighting too, where the headlight gets brighter as it moves. F4 air pump. F5 is blow down when stopped and increased chuff intensity when moving. F6 water fill. F7 smoke on and off, F8 is mute, F9 is the startup and shutdown sequence we talked about, F10's coal auger. Or coal shovel, depending. And there's water injectors, brake set and brake release, brake squeal, grade crossing horn, and more. And F14 to F21, there's a whole bunch of background sounds. I'll just pick one at random here so you can hear it. So that was radio chatter.
I don't know if you'll be able to come out or not, but that's all I got today. Okay. I'll give you a holler after it gets by then. Thanks.
Which was F17. F21's like lumberyard. F20's industrial background. You just get a whole bunch of different cool sounds. There's the lumberyard. You hear saws going and stuff. You can also record and play macros, which are sequences of the locomotive with whistles and whatnot. Those are the sounds. So now, this thing's so big that part of it's in focus and the rest of it isn't. But we'll get it moving at 1 speed step here. Out of 126, MRC Prodigy or Advanced Squared Elite is what I'm using. There's 1 speed step. You see the puffing smoke coming out of both smokestacks. 2 speed steps. Smooth as butter. 3. 4. And 5. I'm going to reverse here. Slow it back down to 1. Jumped ahead a little bit. Just counting the chuffs per wheel rotation. It's 4, so that's correct. Back up to 2 speed steps here. 3, 4, and 5. So you hear that chuff pick up. And there's forward and reverse. Now we'll check a couple NMRA compliance pieces and move on. Alright, check coupler height on the rear. Appears to be dead on. Check the front. Come on, get on there. Also appears to be dead on, so good coupler height. Wheel gauges are all in gauge according to the NMRA standards gauge, so NMRA compliance is met, which is pretty rare for a locomotive, but we've had a few recently that all the coupler heights and everything were good, so very good by Broadway Limited. All right, we're going to check pull test here. Pull tester rarely locks. It looks like it locked this time at 12.3 ounces. So that is an insane amount of pulling power because each ounce is 40 or 15 pieces of rolling stock. So roughly this is supposedly able to pull 180 pieces of rolling stock before it would have wheel slip. Even if it's half of that, that's a lot. So Broadway Limited has the best pulling power test I've ever gotten from a manufacturer, and that continues with this locomotive. Well, that's going to do it for our review of the Broadway Limited T1. Very cool locomotive, first time on my channel. I'm going to leave you with a run-by of this behemoth. Overall, extremely well executed locomotive with no flaws I could find on the review process. So we'll see you next time right here on my channel, and thanks for watching. Take care.